Nanalo na Found Feud na Team Acapella Gold ng 200,000 pesos.
Family Feud, 5:40 p.m.
Welcome to my episode that is called
Nagmamano pa.
That's okay.
This is DW News, and these are our top stories. Hamas has handed over the remains of 2 more Israeli hostages, but says it cannot recover any more from Gaza's rubble without special equipment. Israel is threatening to slash deliveries of aid entering Gaza, accusing Hamas of returning the bodies too slowly. The UN is urging Israel to immediately open all crossings into the territory. Afghanistan and Pakistan have agreed to a 48-hour ceasefire after days of deadly border clashes and airstrikes. Key crossings for travel and trade remain closed. The Taliban government has accused Pakistan of violating its territory. Islamabad says Afghanistan is harboring militants. Legislators in Uruguay have voted to allow euthanasia, making it the first country in Latin America to pass such a law. The Senate approved the bill by a 2/3 majority. Courts in Colombia and Ecuador have lifted bans on helping end the lives of people who are seriously ill. This is DW News from Berlin. You'll find more on our website, dw.com.
From Reuters TV, US at 5:16 p.m. today.
Hi, I'm Kim Vanel in Wanganui, New Zealand.
Kim Vanel in
It's Thursday,
Wanganui, New
October
Zealand.
16th. Today, Trump greenlights covert CIA operations in Venezuela. The Supreme Court considers weakening protections against racial discrimination in a high-stakes Louisiana redistricting case. A court holds mass federal layoffs as the government shutdown continues. And Ukraine's long-range drone strikes mean fuel shortages and price hikes in Russia. This is Reuters World News, bringing you everything you need to know from the front lines in 10 minutes, 7 days a week. US President Donald Trump has confirmed he's authorized covert CIA operations in Venezuela, ramping up pressure on President Nicolas Maduro.
They have emptied their prisons into the United States of America.
Trump has not provided evidence for his claim that Venezuela is sending former prisoners to the US. He said drug trafficking is another reason for his authorization of the CIA involvement. Trump was also asked whether he may target President Maduro.
Does the CIA have authority to take out Maduro?
Oh, I don't want to answer a question like that. That's a ridiculous question for me to be given. Not really a ridiculous question, but wouldn't it be a ridiculous question for me to answer?
In response, Maduro called on the US to pursue peace, not war, telling an audience in Caracas he says no to regime change.
No al cambio de régimen.
The US administration has offered $50 million for information leading to Maduro's arrest and conviction on drug trafficking charges. Venezuela's government says the US a key part of the Voting Rights Act, the law that bars racial discrimination in voting. The case focuses on Louisiana, where black residents make up 1/3 of the population, but had just one black majority district out of 6. After a judge ordered a second, white voters challenged the new map, saying it relies too much on race. Reporter John Cruzel covers the court.
So what this case really boils down to are these tensions between, on the one hand, the Voting Rights Act, which sometimes requires the creation of additional minority majority voting districts, and on the other hand, the this constitutional principle of equal protection, which puts sharp limits on race-based government actions, including the drawing of electoral maps.
If the High Court sides with Louisiana, John says it could have big implications for other redistricting efforts.
This could mean that Congress sees fewer minority representatives in the U.S. House, and because there's often an overlap between partisan affiliation and race, for example, in Louisiana, black voters tend to favor Democrats, this could end up having the effect of helping Republicans gain seats in the U.S. House, where they currently hold a slim majority.
A federal judge in California has ordered the Trump administration to halt mass layoffs during the shutdown, as she considers claims by unions that the job cuts are illegal. Her ruling, which is likely to be appealed, came shortly after White House Budget Director Russell Vought said that more than 10,000 federal workers could lose their jobs because of the shutdown. The messaging war, meanwhile, over who's to blame is going up a notch, with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem recording this video message, which is airing on US.
Slower and carries a lot less explosive. It helps if you can hit something which is naturally combustible, and an oil storage facility or refinery will go up in flames, even if it's hit by a drone with, say, a 50-kilogram warhead rather than a missile with a 500-kilogram warhead of the kind the Russians used to hit Ukrainian targets.
Max says while the Biden administration was worried about hitting energy targets and seeing a rise in oil prices, President Trump doesn't seem to be worried.
He's repeatedly lambasted countries, especially America's NATO allies, who continue buying Russian oil and gas, for continuing to fund Russia's war machine, while at the same time calling for the US to help Ukraine with military aid. So, for Trump, this, and for what appears to be his understanding of the war, Ukrainian strikes that take out Russia's oil sector would, for him, seem to be quite a natural solution to the problem of Russia's oil-funded war machine.
Trump says India has agreed to stop buying Russian oil, although there's been no confirmation from New Delhi yet. A woman who says she was abused by the late financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein is suing Bank of America and the Bank of New York Mellon, alleging the banks knowingly provided financial services that enabled his sex trafficking operation for years. Bank of America and BNY declined to comment. Jane Doe says she opened a Bank of America account in 2013 at the direction of Richard Kahn, Epstein's former accountant, and that Kahn regularly sent her money for rent through the account. Lawyers for Kahn did not immediately. The Eastern border left more than a dozen civilians dead and more than 100 wounded. The clashes erupted after Pakistan demanded the Afghan Taliban crack down on militants attacking from Afghan territory, a claim the Taliban denies, accusing Pakistan of provoking tensions. South Korea's National Security Advisor Ri Sung-lak announcing the government is sending teams to help bring back its nationals trapped in scam compounds in Cambodia. The UN says the scam centres, which have emerged in Southeast Asia since the COVID-19 pandemic, generate billions of dollars in revenue for criminal networks every year. Workers, often lured by fake job ads, are trafficked and forced to carry out online scams targeting victims worldwide. About 1,000 South Koreans are believed to be among the tens of thousands held there. South Korea has issued a travel ban to parts of Cambodia. Phnom Penh rejects claims it's not acting, calling human rights reports on the scam centres exaggerated. And for today's recommended read, Muslim girls in Nigeria's conservative Kwara state are defying tradition by playing soccer, facing community criticism, but finding support too as they balance faith, family, and ambition. There's a link to that story in today's podcast description. For more on any of the stories from today, check out Reuters.com or the Reuters app. Don't forget to follow us on your favourite podcast player. If you're listening on a smart speaker, just ask for the latest news from Reuters 7 days a week. We'll be back tomorrow with our daily headline show.
That's it for your news updates. To see more stories, open Google News.